tonight, joining me in the studio are some very special guests. Anna and Wayne Chambers, founders of Jamaican Delight. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, can you please, for those who may not know what Jamaican Delight is, can you please explain what it is?
Yep, Jamaican Delight, we're an authentic and traditional Jamaican catering company in Sydney. We're mobile caterers, so you can find us at selected markets and festivals around Sydney. And as the months are starting to get a bit colder now, from next month we'll be launching what we call a virtual restaurant, which we'll be cooking from a commercial premises and we'll be on Uber Eats, so you can have Jamaican Delight delivered to your door.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, let's talk about Jamaican Delight, how it all started, where did the idea for it begin?
Well, when we first came to Australia, which was about 7 years ago now, we noted that it was very hard to find our cuisine. We couldn't find anywhere really that sold authentic Jamaican food. And the ones that did sell something like Jamaican food, it really wasn't quite how it should be. So rather than kind of like complaining about it and stamping your feet, we were kind of like, well, we need to do something about it. Wayne is an excellent cook, as always has been, so I'm like, why not open a food business? And that's what we did.
Here it is.
Yes.
All come to life.
Yes.
Excellent. So look, I honestly don't know much about Jamaican cuisine. So can you talk about some of the main ingredients that kind of go in, the main dishes that are involved in Jamaican cuisine?
Yeah. You want to talk about the ingredients?
Okay. The main ingredients are thyme, garlic, and scotch bonnet pepper, and pimento seeds.
Okay.
That's the main ingredient, spice, yeah.
Lots of spices.
Yes, definitely.
Lots of spices, but it's really about the flavour rather than the heat. So there are some dishes that are traditionally quite hot, but generally our food is just very well flavoured. And I think I describe the Scotch bonnet, the way we use it, it gives a little tingle when you're eating it.
Yes.
But the flavour of the Scotch bonnet is amazing.
Nice. So
Yes.
what is that, Scotch?
It's called Scotch bonnet. I believe it's a relative of the habanero chili that we have here in Australia.
Okay.
But it's so flavourful, and
Yeah.
that is, like, I'd say, the key ingredient in most of the dishes that we cook.
Nice. I
Yes.
know I was reading up before this has come to me. Jerk chicken.
Yes.
Yes. So that's like, can you explain that a bit?
So jerk refers to the way that the food, our meat is prepared and the way that it's cooked. It was from, I don't know, back in, I think it was like the 1600s. It was a way of slaves being able to cook without other people knowing, and traditionally they would do it underground. They'd season the meat and put it underground, and they'd also use pimento wood. And so jerk chicken is, and people have different versions of stories of why it's called jerk chicken, because obviously when we talk about jerk chicken in Australia, sometimes we get a little bit of a laugh because jerk means something else in Australia, but for us, the way I understand it is that jerk chicken is like traditionally when they were cooking it, and they would kind of be poking holes on it to make sure that the flavour would go through, that the chicken would jerk when they do that. So that's a story that I'm aware of for jerk chicken, but other Jamaican people may have other interpretations of it.
But I like that one. I'm going to roll with that.
Yeah, and jerk is a typical street food in Jamaica. Every corner you go, you'll find jerk chicken, jerk pork, jerk shrimps, basically jerk anything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, what are some of your favorite Jamaican dishes?
What's your favorite?
I'm going to say my favorite Jamaican dish is steamed fish with okra, and we call it water crackers. So some like tough crackers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would go for oxtail as well.
Okay.
With broad beans.
Okay.
It's really nice.
Yeah. I can't say I've tasted oxtail.
Oh, it's lovely.
Very good.
Amazing.
Yes,
All right.
You need to try it.
I will. I'm going to put it on the list of things I need to try.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So my favourite dish is it's actually the national dish of Jamaica, and it's called ackee and saltfish.
Okay.
It's traditionally eaten for breakfast, but it can be eaten at any time of the day. Ackee. Ackee is a national fruit of Jamaica, but although it's a fruit, it's more eaten as a vegetable. It's yellow in colour, and if it doesn't open naturally, it's actually poisonous.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it kind of looks like scrambled egg, but it tastes nothing like that. I guess it's a little bit similar to tofu in that, tofu kind of absorbs the flavours of everything around it. Yeah. So I guess I would describe ackee like that, and then you eat that with saltfish, and that is my absolute favourite.
Nice.
Yes.
So any time of the day, breakfast?
Any time of the day,
okay.
yes. But Jamaicans would traditionally eat it for breakfast.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
With some dumplings and some hard food, yes.
Now, speaking of Jamaica, you, Wayne, you're from Jamaica.
Absolutely.
Can you please just tell us what Jamaica's like?
Oh, Jamaica is too much fun. Number one, too much fun. It's lovely. The people are very nice, kind, and jovial, and it's just fun. Lots of fun, man. It's like lots to party and everything out. You name it. We have this, as I said, the jerk chicken, and we have the cold red stripe beer go with the jerk chicken, and the cool sea. Oh, it's lovely. It's amazing. It's lovely.
And Anna, you from the UK, but you've been to Jamaica, yes?
Yes.
So yes, you agree? Tick, tick, tick. Yes, all those things.
Absolutely. I was born in the UK to Jamaican parents. I've spent lots of time in Jamaica, and I absolutely love Jamaica. It's just. I guess I'm very biased, but it's just like one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's just green. It's lush. You can't go to Jamaica and not have fun. Like, it's just, the people just won't allow it. Everybody is lovely, everyone's helpful. It's paradise. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Now, speaking of your food at Jamaican Delight, what are some of the reactions you get from people who may have never had, Jamaican food? I think that's one of the things that I like so much about this is the reactions that we get from people. We've always had a positive reaction from everybody who comes to buy food from us. They love the flavours. They just love that it's something different that they haven't had before. And they're also very interested in the story. And I like to tell the story about our food because a lot of our food has a story, whether that's like a story, like a Jamaican story, or even just like a family story, a personal story for Wayne and I. So people love to hear about the origins of the food and what it means and when we eat it. And we love talking about that as well. What? Okay, I know I'm just jumping off from what you just said, but what is one story of a certain dish that you love to tell?
So there's something that we call it saltfish fritters, but they're also known as stamp and go as well, and there may be some other versions of it too. And my understanding is that stamp and go was kind of like a fast food in Jamaica. We don't really do fast food, but that was the kind of fast food. And like when the workers in the mornings they would come and they'd come to get their saltfish fritter, they would stamp their feet, when you're in a hurry, and that's where the name stamp and go comes from.
Nice.
And they would eat that. My mom tells me this story, like in the sugarcane fields and things like that. So we love saltfish fritters, and it is probably one of the quicker dishes that we can make because our food it takes a long time to prepare and to cook. Like Jamaican food is certainly not fast food. Certainly not.
I can imagine preparing all the spices, but then do you marinate?
We marinated. A minimum. It's really a minimum of 24 hours, but ideally 48 hours for it to marinate before we start to cook it, and we cook it slowly as well, and that's how we kind of get that rich flavour. So if you want fast food, Jamaican food's not it. If you want good tasty food, Jamaican food is it.
Nice.
Yes.
And so you cater to a lot of events.
Yes.
What are some of the most interesting events you've catered for?
We've done quite a few variations of events. We really enjoy. We did a theatre event once where we catered to like the theatre company, and that was really nice. We usually do events that are kind of like related or where you'd expect to kind of find our cuisine. So kind of any reggae festivals, things like that, where you can always find us there. I think for us, really, it's about the people that we prepare the food for. So last year at the Reggae Carnival, we had Richie Stevens come. So Richie Stevens is like a veteran reggae singer from Jamaica, and he came over and he was performing as part of the Jamaican Music Festival in Melbourne, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And he also came to Sydney to do something at the Reggae Carnival, and we contacted him beforehand and asked him what he'd like us to prepare for him. And Richie Stevens is somebody who doesn't eat meat, so he asked for fish. So we did like fried fish and festival for him, and he came to the store and he just sat down and he ate with all the customers. Wow. And he was just so lovely and down to earth.
Oh, wonderful!
And those are the times when it's so amazing what we do. And more recently, we had Sir Curtly Ambrose and Lady Ambrose come to dinner at our house. And for those of you who don't know who Sir Curtly Ambrose is, he is one of the best. He is the best fast bowler in the world. Wow. In the world, and he retired about 20 years ago, and still his record is like still unbroken. Holds. Absolutely. And
he must have loved the food.
He loved the food so much he came to our house and had dinner with us. Yeah. He was here for Dancing with the Stars, and we went to watch his show a few times. And we said, hey, do you want to come for dinner? He's like, why not? And he and Lady Ambrose came over to our house for dinner, and that was an amazing time. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sold. Jamaican Delight. I'm sold. What do you love? You've already talked about it, but what do you love the most about cooking?
I think when we cook, it's like family. It's about coming together. Like we all have a little role in the kitchen, and as our food takes so long to cook, we spend all that time together. And just once you start, the smells, the aroma, you can smell it as you're walking up this path, and that smell kind of reminds you of being back home, being back in Jamaica, and it just brings back so many memories. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just getting like, I was picturing it in my mind. Now, is there any particular dish, Jamaican dish, that isn't on your menu that you would love to add to your menu?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, can you tell, or is this under wraps? Is this don't want to be revealing too many secrets?
Okay. Yes. I think I have in mind to because it's getting colder now.
Okay,
so I think I would really introduce like some soup, like chicken foot soup.
Okay.
And
it's actually got the chicken feet in
there. Okay. Well,
but it brings the flavour.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And I'm thinking of beef bone soup as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it's really getting cold, so people really want that to
something warm to warm up.
Yeah. So
soups.
I'm looking to introduce that to out there.
Nice.
Then we have a favourite one called Manish water soup.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Manish water. Any Jamaicans who are listening will know, but it's kind of all parts of the goat. I mean, every single part of the goat. Nothing is wasted, including the genitalia is part of the soup as well. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, like I think the same Manish water soup is really like a man's kind of dish, kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it gives them strength.
Yes, strength.
Okay. Is that where the name came from?
Yes.
Maybe a bit like an aphrodisiac as well.
Yes,
I'm pretty much sure.
Okay. Oh yeah, did you hear that? Okay, so you got plenty ready to introduce. How nice. All right. Now, in light of how far Jamaican Delight has come since you started it, what would you say to someone out there from, whatever background they're from, thinking of, starting their own kind of business, in the food industry?
I think marketing is really important. You need to know like what's out there already, and to make sure that what you're bringing is going to be unique. Because I think there's lots of food places in Sydney, or the Sydney market is quite saturated. So I think it's really important that you're making sure you're looking for the gaps in the market, really. So it's about the market research. It's about seeing what people want, and then it's about thinking about your brand and your identity. And it's really important to be really consistent with that. And, if someone's doing a food business, it's really important to have great tasting food, but equally well presented food as well. That's like really important.
Wonderful. Well, Anna, Wayne, thank you so much for joining me in the studio today.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.